Well, the summer garden season is just about over, and I'm sure all of you are starting to feel the temperature shifting to from mild temperatures to actually pretty cold. And in my forecast, it looks like it's going to be really cold in the next few days. So it's time to start thinking about getting the garden ready for frost. I'm dealing with Sanctuary Gardens, and today we're going to go over fall chores that you need to do in preparation for winter. It's always a little sad when the summer growing season is over. But at the same time, it's also really relieving, especially for me right now that I'm expecting a baby in December. I'm kind of really looking forward to kind of putting the garden to rest for the rest of the season. Some of the stuff you might have already done, and so if so, just skip through that part. And then some of this other stuff might be things that you might have not thought of, and I hope that you'll learn something new. So the first thing you want to do when you come into your garden, your first fall chore, especially before you have your first heavy frost, which I'm expected to get in the next couple days, is to completely clear your garden out of all the summer bearing fruits and vegetables. Things like tomatoes. All those tomatoes, if they get frost, they're not going to be edible at all. So you just pick them all now, even the green ones. You can make delicious food with the green ones. Any eggplants, peppers, any zucchini or squashes that you have left, even the ones that are winter squashes, they're not meant to go through the winter outside. They want to be in a temperate environment in your house. Some of these tomatoes were looking really bad. I did pick them. I'm just going to throw them in the compost pile. The next thing to do after you've completely stripped your garden of all your warm, heat-loving fruits and vegetables, then just pull up the plants that you know will not make it through the winter. Ones that will would be like, I have my kale over here, my Brussels sprouts, radishes. Got a couple of those things that I'm going to leave in because they'll go through the winter, at least in my mild climate. So I'm going to be tearing down a few of these tomatoes today. Now, if your plant is disease-free, definitely add it to your compost pile. If it has fungus issues like powdery mildew or some other disease that you can tell, there's splotches and different things, then it might not be a great idea to add it to your compost because you want to make sure that everything that goes in there is disease-free. Always make sure to shake off as much dirt as you can out of the root system. So if you're going to be planting any winter crops, now's the time to do it, or maybe you should have already done it. But things like garlic, some things like radishes that are pretty fast, you can sometimes still plant. So now would be the time to make sure that those are in the ground, doing well. And if you are planting anything for the winter, then make sure that you really amend your soil well with a lot of compost, fertilizer, worm castings, things like that, that really can make sure that they have a boost of nutrition. Other than that, you just want to make sure that every single one of your beds has some sort of mulch. One of the best ones is all your leaves from the trees that fall off. Just add a nice layer of that to all your garden beds. And then in the spring, you can just till it right in and it's like its own compost. It's a great thing to do. You just want to make sure that you leave no bed without something, some sort of mulch or a cover crop over the winter. And we'll go over that in just a minute. I don't have any leaves falling off my trees quite yet. Even if I did, I don't have enough trees around here for that. So I add a layer of straw is what I do. Now this bed here is the one that I planted with garlic. You might have seen that video already. So I hadn't added mulch yet, but because it's going to be getting cold, I'm going to add a nice layer of straw mulch to this. Now, if you have enough compost homemade, or if you want to buy some for the fall, compost is a great mulch. You can add it to all your beds, have it last through the winter. It's excellent. I didn't have enough compost this year, so this will have to do. I just have to make sure to amend my beds really well in the spring before I do my spring planting. Now, in this bed here, you can see I planted some winter crops. This is kale, and I have some beets over here, a little lettuce at the end. But I just put a nice layer of mulch around these and didn't worry about them kind of covering things because the straw is very light, but it provides a little more insulation to protect the plants. But these are pretty cold hardy, so they should survive. So our Brussels sprouts, and I already picked some, but Brussels sprouts get actually sweeter after the first frost. So once again, just mulch them really well. So right here I have an example of a cover crop that I planted in September that is going to be nourishing this bed with more nitrogen, replenishing it. So this is an excellent way to make sure that your beds aren't losing nutrients throughout the winter. One of the last things that you need to do for your fall garden, if you have perennial berries such as blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, it's really important to fertilize them and also mulch them for the winter. Blueberries are one of my favorite plants in the fall because they turn this brilliant red color and they're just gorgeous. So I have 4 blueberry plants here. And what I like to use for fertilizing is the Down to Earth mix here. It's an acid mix because most berries like to have more acidic soil. So this makes sure that they get that acidity. And this is recommending in the fall to add about 1/2 cup per blueberry plant. And then what I'm going to do is just sprinkle some around my strawberries and some around my raspberries. And then the last thing to do is to make sure to mulch them. Now I love bark or wood chips for putting around my perennial berry plants. So when it comes to fertilizing, at least I'll show you the blueberries. I just pull back my bark mulch. I had put compost around these in spring and summer. I'm going to take a 1/2 cup here of my fertilizer. I'm going to sprinkle it around the plant there and then mix it into the soil just a little bit. I don't go very deep. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull the bark back up to around the base of the plant. Probably should add a little extra bark. I'll do that later. So friends, those are the fall chores that you definitely want to consider doing very soon, and especially if your temperatures are going to be dropping below freezing. You definitely want to at least make sure that you start mulching things and pick those summer heat-loving fruit off your plants. Happy fall, everyone. Good luck with your garden chores. Hope you learned something new from today's video. Please be sure to like and subscribe and go out and grow something. Until the next video, God bless.